Okay. All right. It's working this time. Hello, and welcome to Ask the Right Questions. I am Slim, and over there is Race the Revelator. And today he's going to revelate about nostalgia.
So, James, why don't you feel nostalgia?
I don't
What's
know
wrong,
why I
man?
don't.
What's your
Everybody,
psychological issue with nostalgia?
okay, well, 80s and 90s nostalgia is big right now.
Yeah. hmm
Huge. And you're currently obsessed with it too, right? You're always seeking it out on YouTube, looking at fake video filters to get that high.
I mean, I'm not too affected by the fake video filters. I always get nostalgia straight from the source. Um, I'll always get nostalgia from looking at like film grain and looking at movies from from that era rather than like the fake digital aesthetic we have going now. I don't think digital ever truly captures that. Digital can't make you feel um, a CRTV.
No, it does
Like
not.
you can feel the magnets of a CRTV. We forget that sometimes.
Well, when you
I
get
mean,
close to static,
yeah, I mean, I haven't been around a CRT in a long time.
dude, it's at my
Uh,
house. We were playing
it's
we were
that
playing Melee on it for
well,
a
we
year
haven't
plus.
we, we haven't turned it on in a while though,
Okay, we'll go
and
down there and do it next
I
time.
don't know. I don't know. It's a little more new than some of the older ones, I guess. I don't know.
It was the tail end of it, but yeah, I mean it's still a CRT.
Yeah, it is.
If I walk up to put my
Um,
hand on, I get that static.
yeah, I'll have to do that next
Well,
time I go.
the main difference is
Um,
it's a flat screen one. It's not rounded.
right. I don't know. I never went into that room and was like, oh, the CRTV giving me nostalgia. So maybe it's the older ones. I don't know, but yeah, the digital recreation of trying to make things look old does it bring nostalgia sometimes? Like sometimes it does, but other times I know it's just a visual aesthetic thing. Um, no, I always get. I, I mean,
The one who did the best job of it was James Rolfe on Cinemassacre. Back when he was doing the editing on the videos, he would hit it perfect, almost near perfect.
what do you mean? Like,
He would do it once in a while on his videos.
oh, okay,
He would do it. He would do it so close because he would actually do it on old camera on top of it. But then
yeah,
he would get that slight line and he would put on grain, but the grain wasn't constant. You know how like they do it just like it's just one filter and it's obviously looping. He
hmm
would do it once in a while. He would do it so authentic back when he was doing the editing. But now he's a broken old man who has screen wave do all his videos.
well, like there's I don't know, even like 16 millimeter film. Even if you set out to make a movie with that, it's still kind of like you're still watching it on a digital screen, and it still feels new. I mean, it kind of feels old, but it's still if I watch a movie like straight from that era with all the film grain intact, then that's the real authentic. Like that's actually film.
Well, it is, yeah. Like
But
on
new 16 is not the same thing as what they used back then. So it's not the same imperfections, which it's also weird that the imperfections of old media, like people like that so much that they're going to the extra effort to recreate what people saw as imperfections. It's like it's like people saw that as mistakes and things you couldn't escape of old media, and now that they got
they
the
have
HD
clean,
quality.
all clean.
Yeah, now that they actually got it, they oh no, we liked it with the
People
mistakes. It's like
people should people should get an old home video camera and record it on VHS tape, then transfer it to the computer.
yeah.
That's what James did.
Well, do you know everything is terrible?
Yeah, I do.
So they edit old videotapes that they find. Um, Stuff that was filmed in the 80s and 90s that no one would have seen. You know, it's just something someone filmed for themselves on a videotape. And somehow they get these in garage sales or whatever, or storage units, and they're like repurposing all this footage. And videotape is pretty horrible. I don't think videotape's ever going to look good. But I don't mind the
Well, videotapes didn't look bad on a CRT.
yeah,
It looked
yeah.
fine. That's what it was purposed for.
I don't know. To me, fake scan lines, trying to make something like lo-fi and grainy, it hasn't run out of charm for me yet. At least, like, I'm sure people will get sick of it eventually. But I mean, I don't like think of like I went to see The Hobbit in 48 frames per second. You do not need all those extra frames. Like, it looks so weird. It looked uh like the BBC and their extra frames, and
Well,
it's just.
you also have trouble with your eyes.
I mean, I don't think that affects the way I would see that movie, though. I mean, everything's just moving faster.
It's
You
just
know,
smoother. I don't know. It didn't. It was like it was only like two extra frames. I barely even noticed it. What was it,
well,
30? What was it, 26 or 30? What was it?
48 frames per
Oh, it was
second.
48. It was doubled. I don't know. I didn't. It looked smoother. I didn't.
It just
It was no big
it,
difference to me in watching it. It was,
it doesn't look natural. And I think there's like the uh, the TVs now, the 4K TVs have settings that automatically make things. It's like takes out the motion blur.
no,
It's
but
just not.
that's artificial smoothing. It looks terrible. Everything looks smeared and not like an appealing cartoon smear. It just looks
Yeah,
it just looks bizarre.
yeah. Some of the I've read some directors called it. It looked like liquid diarrhea.
I accidentally downloaded an episode of an anime once that somebody converted to 60 FPS, and I was sitting there watching like, what the hell is wrong with this? I didn't realize I did it until I looked back at the file name and it had 60 FPS at the end of it. I was looking at it, I couldn't figure out like what is wrong with this encoding.
Hmm. Yeah, more is not always better. Um, just like
Well, if somebody actually animated 60 frames, truly animated it, it would look good. It doesn't look good with a computer trying to do weird smearing on it.
yeah, just like 3D audio and 8D audio. That just it's a cool aesthetic,
Was there anything
but
to
it
that?
doesn't it doesn't replace the actual song. It's never going to replace enjoying the actual song.
Was there anything actually to HD audio?
No, I'm talking about 3D audio.
Oh, you're t
It's like they double the song in both headphones.
Oh, I played Corpse Party, the one on PS Vita with that. It had binaural audio. That actually worked really well on that. It's a horror game though.
Yeah, but this is mostly just people like they'll take a song and they'll double it in both headphones.
I
So,
actually believe I have seen those, yeah, on
yeah,
YouTube. I
sometimes I like listening to them if I like the song enough, but it's never going to replace the song. And then 8D audio is when they're like going back and forth.
It's kind of it's a cool gimmick.
It's a cool gimmick, um, which I guess you could see as the whole vaporwave aesthetic is like. For now, it's just a cool gimmick. Um,
It's people obsessing over their childhood
yeah.
and trying to make it something it wasn't.
So that's
Which brings us to this quote.
right. Hey, hey. That's the root of nostalgia, right?
Yeah, well, it's in an article I found. It's a good description of it.
Yeah.
This is on Elite Daily, the science behind nostalgia. A longing for a sanitized impression of the past, which in psychoanalysis is referred to as screen memory. Not a true recreation of the past, but rather a combination of many different memories, all integrated together, and in the process, all negative emotions filtered out.
Yeah.
which I guess touches on when I say that my whole life started going downhill in fifth grade. So I always think about my life before that as like so good
Yeah.
because I was ignorant of the world. It was just me and Sonic on my Sega Genesis
Yeah. Well,
and
yeah, you're
cartoons.
you're thinking about the way you felt as a kid. Life was more carefree. Um, you were just entertaining yourself with video games and cartoons, and you didn't have a lot to worry about like you do now as an adult. So I
Uh,
think your brain wants to go back to those feelings. I'm sure there's some endorphin release when you see something from your past or see something you enjoyed a long time ago. All that enjoyment comes back. That goes back into your brain. Those memories
So
come back.
so for me, like watching the stuff doesn't make me feel that emotion. I still like cartoons or video games from then. Um, for me, my time's very small too. Like at fifth grade, I just start thinking about how bad life is.
Okay. This is not a surprise. Go ahead.
It's not surprised you 'cause I've told you about it before.
Yeah.
But for so
I didn't know it was 5 years old.
no, fifth grade.
Fifth grade. Okay.
Fifth
Okay.
grade. I don't really know what age I was in grades.
That's.
I
I
don't,
mean, that's so pretty. That's still pretty young.
it is, yeah, but I think about fifth grade on as just it's pretty bad
Hmm.
for me. My life started going downhill and it's never recovered.
I
But
mean,
so looking at playing the games or looking at bad video filters doesn't doesn't make me think about those days necessarily. It doesn't. It doesn't make me think about those days. But it does for you, right? It does for you. And so many others.
um, to some degree, I. I mean, so much of vaporwave is the '80s, which I always hated. I always never liked the '80s. I don't want to say hated, but I never liked the sound of the music, the fuzzy new wave. I
But
never.
now you do.
I like the HD fuzziness. I like HD
Fake
synths
fuzziness.
now, but I don't. When I listen to like fuzzy stuff from the '80s and '90s, I'm not like I don't know. I just don't like the way it sounds. I don't like. I mean, there's some '80s movies I like, but watching like older TV shows, I don't think they look that good.
Well, you and me weren't alive in the '80s anyway. Let's go to if I
Yeah.
if I put on Quackshot for you and hand you a controller, are you gonna feel nostalgic?
Yes.
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 Now,
Definitely.
if I turn on Pete and Pete, are you gonna feel nostalgic?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
See, that's what I mean. I have had very slight glimmers of this with food. Like a few months ago, I had Nesquik for the first time. So like Nesquik, I truly hadn't had it since I don't know when. I was really young though.
Hmm.
So my sister randomly bought Nesquik. So I had it. I felt a little bit of a deja vu feeling.
Yeah.
A little bit of a deja vu feeling. Now, Bryce won't come on the show, which Bryce is your brother for the
Yeah.
audience. Bryce will come on the show, but me and him have discussed this. He doesn't feel nostalgia either.
Well, I mean, he doesn't super follow all the newer, like, he watches old cartoons all the time, so it's never really changed that much for him.
I
And he
was the
plays
same,
old school videos all the time, old school video games all the time. So,
and
like,
I've done the same.
yeah, so you guys are,
I never stopped playing older video games because emulators came out. I had my PSP, which ran emulators. I was sitting in high school playing Sonic 3 during history class on my
so you,
PSP, so I was just always playing them.
yeah, so you guys don't keep up with things too much.
Well, I do.
Would you say
I
you and,
mix it in. I just continually add to my plate.
so would you, but, okay, what percentage would you say is new and old of like games and cartoons you're watching and all that? Or stuff you're watching?
I'd say I wouldn't say quite a quit. I would say 20% is probably old.
Okay.
80% is new. It's always in a
But you
mix. Like I turned on an episode of Seinfeld the other day.
okay.
I played Quackshot last night. Those games I hadn't played Quackshot before in my life, so I actually am exploring the new to me, new
Hmm.
to me. Like I turn on my EverDrive, and I'm typically trying a game I hadn't played before.
Now, do you remember the way, like, when we were growing up, like, there's a certain way people dressed, there's a certain way people talked, movies were a certain way, video games were a certain way.
Yeah,
And when a new thing tries to recreate that, I do get like it does like remind me of the things like I don't know, I'm more comfortable with the things I grew up with. Um like even I didn't even like grow up watching the X-Files, but I went back to I started watching it
oh, really? No, not at
and
all?
barely.
Not really.
I might have seen like one episode back then. Um I was too scared by the
No,
intro.
I mean, I never followed it, but I saw episodes here and there fairly regularly.
Yeah, I mean my yeah, I would hear the beginning music and I would like
You get
I don't want
spooked
to
and
watch
run
that
away.
show. Yeah, yeah.
What a
So but like the music, the cinematography, the way everybody dresses, it's like it does take me back a little bit. I do get the feelings of nostalgia watching it. And then when I see like I watched a show called Halt and Catch Fire, which is about the beginning of computers. It's a fictional show. It was on AMC. I think it's one of the like most underrated, underwatched shows out there. Only four really amazing seasons, and that starts out in the '80s, and in the last season it goes into the '90s, and the characters have the hairdos like that Scully has in the X Files, and they start wearing the clothes and they're looking like people from the
yeah,
90s and
yeah.
stuff and like it's like oh like I don't know, it just gave me a good feeling like see that's the era that I had the best years of my life so far, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's too because I don't like new stuff. I didn't like the new music when
Well,
I was in
well,
high
you
school.
you certainly go to the movies enough for not liking new stuff.
I did go to the movies more
You
in high
know,
school.
you know, in a way, the comic book craze right now uh, is probably working off of nostalgia a bit.
Yeah, yeah, I can see
Because,
that.
like, I mean, how was comic books presented before? I mean, you had the comic books, obviously, but beyond it, you had cartoons targeted at kids.
Hmm.
So it probably is playing off that somewhat.
Um, People who are super passionate into comic books, there weren't a lot of them back then, though.
I was, well, I don't know. I mean, I was with the most. I was subscribed to three different series.
Hmm.
It's probably more than most people were. I actually followed them. Um, and I was enjoying the comic book movies at first, but I mean, at some point I'm getting sick of it, man.
Yeah,
I do see it a little bit online. I do see some people thankful it's coming to an end with Endgame.
you've done like more than 20 movies. Like that's
It was too much.
that's
Look,
better.
you and Danny were dragging me almost every single week one year to a movie. I'm not exaggerating. It was almost every week.
Well, we like going to the movies.
No, to comic
I've
book
always
movies in particular.
see. Okay, that's one thing you don't. You're right in that movie tickets are overpriced. The food's
Well, I'm not
overpriced.
even
I'm
arguing
not
that.
inclined to
I'm
go
just
there.
saying it is massive overexposure to the comic book formula.
Oh, of
It's
course.
massive
But
overexposure.
I'm telling you, like, it's not just that I enjoy going to the movies. There is a level of nostalgia that I didn't go to the movies a whole lot when I was a kid. So being able to go to them now more frequently as an adult, that feels like a luxury. I like the feeling of being in the theater.
Well,
It doesn't feel the same to me as scrolling infinitely through Netflix. So
that
there is
does
some
make some
value to
sense.
it.
Well, I was totally opposite. I could actually tell you all the movies I went to as a kid because it was that rare.
Yeah. Um,
We never went. We just rented them on VHS whenever the time came.
I don't know. I think for me, I hated new metal. I I hated gangster rap. I hated a lot of the pop music that came out when I was in high school.
We were listening
Um,
to the garage rock revival.
yeah, I've hated the sound of most Christian music, contemporary Christian music. I've hated the way it sounded for the past 2 decades. Um, so when I go back and listen, like I think music from the '90s is weirder and more creative and more out there and ambitious. And I think some artists are starting to recapture that. So maybe it's not so much nostalgia as that I'm just happy, but like better, more creative music is back. Um, I'm not gonna say that all that music from there holds up, but I still do get some nostalgia, like listening to some like alternative rock, even if it's not that good. Like I found a. Do you know Monkey Magic?
I have heard of it. I've heard the name, but
So
don't know.
they're uh, two American guys and two Japanese guys, and they do like alternative rock in Japan. And it's like English lyrics mixed with Japanese lyrics. I'm going back and seeing all these old videos from like, probably like the late 90s, early 2000s videos. And it has like a certain sound to it. And um, and they were dressing a certain way that gave me nostalgia. Um, I forgot where I was going with that.
The internet allows you to explore the stuff that you missed from that time period.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so I do get you. Is there different levels to nostalgia? You
Um,
think like there's stuff that you felt like as you were a kid, but when when you got into high school, your brain is more aware. You probably have a little bit more memories from when you were in high school.
maybe it could be partly the memories aren't quite as clear when you're really young,
Right.
but I guess kind of I guess kind of what it comes down to is that most people actually stop playing or watching or whatever the stuff that they enjoyed as a kid. They actually just totally stopped looking at it at all, right?
Hmm.
But whereas me and Bryce, we didn't stop. We still played them once in a while or looked at some cartoons or whatever.
So that might be the biggest difference. I mean, I'm thinking like sometimes I've gone back, I've listened to a garage rock album that I really love, and my brain goes into a zone that I've never gone before. More than watching an old cartoon, more than seeing a fake video aesthetic from Vaporwave, more than like when I listen like that Soul Dad Brothers, like that live EP.
Yes.
I mean, I turned that thing on and I did not stop it, and I was in a different headspace listening to it. Uh, so there might be something to when your brain is in its most important years, growing into a young adult, that the art and the music that you experience then is going to be the most meaningful. Um, I mean,
It probably does. You're definitely the most impressionable. I mean, it's going to stick with you whether you remember it or not. Exactly,
mhm.
quite
Yeah.
clearly.
And when I was like fifth, sixth grade, I guess, or no, I have memories from first and second grade, but like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Hanson, Britney Spears, like I'm not gonna say all that music holds up,
I never
but
liked it, even as a
see,
kid.
okay, but I do hear some of those songs, and my brain does light up a bit. Like, oh yeah, I remember that song. Oh yeah, that song's actually pretty good. Like I don't know, it's your brain indulging in itself. Its memories lighting up again, and it just kind of grabs hold of you.
So,
Whether it's objectively good or not, and how much your taste change is, I don't know. Like sometimes I listen to stuff and I'm like, oh, that doesn't hold up as well as I
well,
thought it did.
there's something too. I hear people say this didn't age well or something like that. I never have that feeling where something didn't age well. I still enjoy it like I did as a kid.
Hmm. There's certain trends in music production in every era,
Yeah.
though. So,
Well,
like,
I mostly hear this about video games because of gameplay mechanics.
yeah,
A game clip, like they say, it feels archaic. I don't know. It doesn't feel. I don't get that impression when I go back and play it.
do you like tank controls?
I never played a lot of games with them because I didn't play survival horror.
Mm, okay, well,
Well, wasn't that like the only real genre that had that?
I don't,
That and Tomb Raider.
yeah, I guess so.
3D platformers didn't have it. I won't say they never did. There's probably
Yeah.
some 3D platformer with it. I didn't play it. I
Well, there's some mechanics that they do feel. Oh, that's a whole nother show, I guess, right? Like there are mechanics that aren't like practical anymore. Like since developers have found better ways to do things and we've had better controllers. I don't know. I feel like there's been improvements in like the mechanics
No,
of
well,
video
no,
games.
they have improved, but I don't go back and play it and like get angry about it or say it's crap or feel bad or like
Mm,
I can't control it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for example, playing uh N60. Well, I'd say they did pretty good, but you know camera work in early platformers, Sonic Adventure, Banjo Kazooie, the camera with
Hmm.
camera. I go back and I play them, and maybe it's because I played it back then, but I am constantly moving the camera with the L and R buttons, or hitting the button to recenter it. It's just
Hmm.
instinctual to me. Whereas people probably don't remember to do that, where that was just normal to do while playing it. You were
Yeah,
constantly hitting
maybe.
that button to recenter the camera.
Yeah, maybe. Um, if you went back, like if you play Odyssey and then go right back to playing Mario 64. Um,
I have played Mario 64 so much I have it memorized. I've
um,
played it.
I think I think
Probably
Mario 64 holds up really well in its
it holds up
mechanics.
better than most.
Yeah,
Um,
But comparingly to Odyssey, it is stiff.
it is
You're gonna
stiff.
feel the
It
stiffness.
is stiff. That one I've played so much that it's probably not fair for me to compare that because I have played it very steadily throughout the
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
at least somewhat. Um, but I guess I'll give a couple examples of stuff that has actually hit me with something like nostalgia. Like wow, I remember that. So
Okay.
something that actually did leave my life in between. So I was on. Well, are you watching the stream?
I am now.
Okay, because I'm going to put up a picture. I was on Reddit recently, and somebody posted a picture of this. These Mickey Mouse ice cream pops.
Hmm.
Have you seen these before?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Well, I used to get them as a kid, and I had no memory at all of these things. The
And
picture
they
went up, and
probably
I was
didn't
like,
look
boom, hit me in the face.
this good in real life.
They were ice pops. I mean, I don't know.
Were they this detailed when you ate them?
Um, not quite, no.
Yeah, I
Not
doubt it.
quite. Not quite, but I mean, you could tell who it was.
Yeah,
But so that hit me. I like, wow, I had no memory of this at all. It hit me back, and I wanted them.
yeah.
So then I had Nesquik too. That hit me. I told you that earlier. But the other day I was because I got the Mega SG. Do you know what that is?
No.
Oh, well, do you know what the Super NT is? No.
It sounds familiar, but
It's the FPGA clone consoles for the Super Nintendo, Super NT. The Mega SG is Sega Genesis.
oh, okay.
It is upgraded. It is, well, I won't get into the details of it, but it's as accurate as you're going to get in hardware emulation.
Okay.
It has scan lines, has all kinds of fancy features set up just how you want. But so I was playing Animaniacs, and I hadn't touched that since I was a kid. Animaniacs, the Genesis version. Have you played it?
Hmm.
But yeah, I hadn't touched that, and I felt a little bit of deja vu going to some of the levels. I did remember them somewhat. There was a little bit there. It wasn't like, wow, I'm just in bliss, man, like some people are. Some people it really hits them hard. It doesn't hit me too hard. But the
Hmm.
Mickey Mouse pops might have hit me the hardest because I had no
Okay.
memory of them at all. They were just gone from my life.
So food.
It was
So food works on you.
well, the reason is probably because I can't get the food. It's gone. I can't buy it.
Yeah.
Would I have stopped buying them? I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have still bought them once in a while if they were still around.
Yeah, and I can see how food can affect your brain more than scan
Especially
lines.
taste, and taste. Nesquik did that. Well, yeah, scan lines. Scan
Yeah.
lines were gone from my life. Because I didn't have a CRT. Though I had it. I mean, when I met you in high school, I still had a CRT. If I
Right.
first met it, then I changed some. I got a HD TV at some point during that.
I got an HD after the Wii U came out.
Yeah, you actually had it longer than me. I got it shortly after the Wii came out. So that was sophomore year of high school, I believe.
Hmm. For I don't know how many years, my dad had got it from my grandfather, a big flat screen, like the really thick ones. Have you seen those?
I know him, yeah, I do.
Oh my
I
God,
know him.
they're monsters. Um,
It was the first
the
HD TVs.
Yeah, the
Well,
picture
my
was.
dad had it too. Wait, are you
Okay.
talking about way back in the day?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, if
I,
you're talking about
I'm.
back, I mean, well, how old was it before like 2001?
It was when I was in junior high, so it was like a 2003 or four.
Yeah, well, there was big, huge rear projection standard definition TVs. My uncle had one. The picture looked so bad on it because it was stretched out.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know what kind of TV it was,
It wasn't
but
HD. I know what you're talking about
this
though.
black and fat and thick giant thing in the
My
room.
my uncle had that. They were standard definition. They were just a big picture, and
Yeah.
everything looked terrible. And they were also dim. They were very dim to
So that
watch.
well, and it got worse and worse as time went on, to the point where we were watching Supernatural and it was like completely brown. It was just fading tinted brown. And my dad was like, "I can't believe we're doing this. Oh my God, I gotta get a new TV." So,
Well,
but yeah, that it's funny how like people do really like trying to recreate old media. Like we didn't talk about vinyls coming back and how vinyl sales are more
that
than
that that's nostalgia for most people. You can't put I have to give up collecting vinyl. I walk to a store, it's awful. I drop hundreds like it's nothing.
yeah, yeah, I could see that.
I adore walking to the store. I adore digging through the crates. And I don't even buy stuff I recognize often. It's some weird crap. I don't even know what the hell it is. I just buy it because I want to hear it.
You better not start collecting laser discs.
No, I am not. I am not going to be the 30-year-old boomer who watches anime on Laserdisc.
You know they doesn't um the angry video game nerd, he did have some, like, didn't he do a episode on laser discs and like the art that used to come in the.
He mentions it here and there. I don't know if there was a dedicated video. There probably was. It wouldn't surprise me.
No, there, yeah,
I
there's like,
I know he's talked about it.
or is it beta? I don't know.
No,
It's
no.
like,
Laserdisc is the size of vinyl, basically.
yeah, and
Beta is smaller VHS tapes from Sony.
and they used to have these big like really beautiful pictures on the packaging that you could just like hang up as a
Yeah,
poster.
yeah,
It's kind of like you
yes.
were buying.
Well, that's part. Well, so my theory is on vinyl making a comeback. There's digital audio. I mean, CDs were just digital audio anyway. CDs
It's already
sound
made a comeback. The sales of
well,
vinyl are huge.
okay, so why it's made a comeback? Okay, I'm sorry,
Okay.
but it has
I wish I had the numbers in front of me. They're shockingly
go
big.
type it in while I talk about it.
Okay.
So CDs and digital download audio is the same. It's the same exact file, right? Sounds the
Hmm.
same. It's exactly the same. So is there any reason to buy a CD? No, because you're gonna rip it and put it on your computer anyway.
Yeah.
But vinyl, so for people who want physical media, vinyl's perfect. It's big, has a nice big picture. It comes with extra art inside of it. You fold it open. You see the band. You hang it up on your wall. You hug it. You also, but also when you're playing it, it's a very intimate experience playing a vinyl record. You actually have to
Right.
put it on. You have to lower the arm. You even have to flip it over. Come halfway through. You might even have to
Right.
change it if it's multiple records, right? I'm sounding like a
Yep.
boomer.
Yeah. I know. Remember my dad had a CD carousel on his
Oh
stereo.
yeah. No,
He was
I've
very
seen
impressed
those.
with it
I've
for a
seen
long time.
those.
Um, yeah, it says in 2018 it's gone up 18%, while um, oh overall sales of physical have gone down 17%, but vinyl goes up 18%.
Well, I want to know who is
Um,
buying a CD. Who's doing it?
16.8 million vinyl albums were sold in 2018.
But so something else that's
Who's
made a comeback is cassettes, cassette
I
tapes.
have the last I did buy a CD like a few months ago as for like a Kickstarter thing, but
Well, it's kind of nice.
I have
I got the Shantae soundtrack on. I gave it to Bryce when it came in.
yeah, the the plastic things that break easily, those suck. Those aren't going to have much value in a long time. Those are just like generic cases. When the casing is more like vinyl, like the Deep Space 5 bake sale,
Yeah,
I really love that physical like package that they put together. So there's some CDs I like having.
I can
I have
I
some
can
over
see it.
there.
I can see it for an album you're really passionate about. I can.
Hmm.
Well, I remember I handed Bryce the Shantae soundtrack, and you're like, "Is that music on a disc?" Is that
Yeah, yeah.
that came in the
Um,
mail after years of backing that? I don't. I didn't even remember I did it.
GameCube discs are really weird to hold too now.
Those are mini disc. I actually got a new mini disc recently with something I bought. It wasn't CD. It was a computer program with drivers. It came
Yeah,
on a mini disc.
yeah, the Runner 2 soundtrack is a mini disc.
They actually fit it all on
Um,
there.
yeah.
Seems like there'd be way more music, but
Our friend Jeff Barthold one time he he made a post about cassettes.
he
How
did
nostalgic he was for cassettes.
cassette tapes.
Some rapper he he was like showing a video where a guy was like he had girls making cassettes for him. And the guy's like I don't know if he was rapping about cassettes, but he was just like it's the magnets in the music.
I'm
It's
gonna
like just more special because it was in there in the music. My dad had a lot of cassettes in his car too, so I never really used cassettes.
I'm gonna say right now, cassettes always sucked. They always sucked. I don't have any nostalgia for them. I hated them back
Probably,
then. They sounded like
probably.
crap, and every once in a while the machine would just eat it.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna come and tell me that like, oh, but the machine eating it was part of the experience. It ruined it. You can't listen to it anymore. What about you, Race?
Videotapes are never that great either.
Um, It was the only way you could watch it. Laser discs were objectively better, and that's probably why Japan liked them more. But they were
Hmm.
more. I don't know if well, around the time they came out, around the time I mean VHS tapes were really expensive at first, then they dropped. I don't know. I'm not going to claim to know exactly how the price worked on those. But like every once in a while, you will see on Bandcamp that you can buy a brand new cassette tape of some from
Hmm.
some vaporwave dude. And it's
That's
usually
cool.
it's also usually a pink cassette because vaporwave.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
it's
still
kind of
pretty
cool.
cool
No,
to
it's kind
have.
of
If
cool. It's like most people who buy that probably don't listen to it. They probably put it on display.
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know it's cool as a collector's thing. But I'm not nostalgic for a cassette tape at all. For listening to a cassette tape.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long ago it was that I either put a videotape in a VCR or even seen somebody do it or anything. But I know if I run into a VCR again one day,
I actually
put a
do have
videotape
laser
in.
discs right over here. It was John Kay who made me go buy this.
But do you have a player?
Do
Do you have?
I do, so I do somewhere. Look at Looney Tunes on laser discs. I'm the 30-year-old boomer who watches classic cartoons on laser discs. Look at that Droopy. You actually can't buy Droopy.
Yeah.
You could. Well, it was. That's actually Tex Avery, complete Tex Avery. You can buy
Oh
Droopy.
wow.
You can't buy the rest. You can't buy the MGM cartoons on DVD or anywhere.
Yeah.
And those are amazing cartoons.
So that has value in that sense, and then it is like this big nice art, and it's this old media
It
that you have
is.
sitting
You open
there,
up
and
that box, it comes with all kinds of extras. It comes with talks with the animators. There's all kinds of
Mhm.
stuff in there, notes. But so have we figured it out, Race?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's something like I don't consider like the plastic cases of my Blu-rays super special.
But
Uh,
what happens in 30 more years?
Maybe I don't
Oh
know. I don't
boy,
know.
this Blu-ray disc.
CDs have never been that special as a medium.
They never were to me either.
Um, it's funny. Go watch the Tarantino movie, Jackie Brown, and they go into the store. It's like new CDs and cassettes. New CDs. Like you can buy CDs now. Like they're like being super advertised as this new media. It really dates that movie badly. Um,
Well, so what's kind of odd is that you actually aren't pursuing the true authentic way to play old games or movies or whatever, but I am.
yeah,
I think it's because I truly I mean if you sit down and play 16-bit game, do you truly enjoy it anymore?
not that much.
See what
No.
I mean? I still enjoy it, so I want them to look good while I play them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, and I want old movies to look good.
Yeah,
I don't want to buy DVDs. Um, those are kind of useless things now too,
so
aren't they?
yeah they are. So I'm going to now go on a rant
Okay.
because animation always gets the shaft in restoration. They don't restore them;
Yeah.
they butcher them. There's a brand new Dragon Ball Z set coming out, and Funimation like for
Yeah.
the first time in 4.3, like wow, that sounds great. Then you look at it, they cranked up the colors. They're blasting it. Like you remember Dragon Ball Z, the colors were pretty muted. They cranked them
Yeah.
up, but also at the same time they want to totally get rid of the film grain, so they put this blurry. Everything's blurry because they wanted to get rid of the film the grain from the film. It looks awful. It looks terrible. Animation always gets the shaft. Looney Tunes, they pumped up the colors on a lot of them, especially those Wile E. Coyote cartoons.
Well, it's easy to get wrong because it's drawings. It's not like the complexity of a film.
But if they
Uh,
just didn't, if they just, if they had just scanned the film so it was high res in the first place, it didn't touch it, it would have been better.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't understand the logic of it.
Because it becomes HD when, well, you've seen it in your Criterion documentaries, right? They have the machine that
Mhm.
pulls the film through, and it's actually scanning each frame.
Yeah,
That alone makes it look way, way better.
yeah, yeah. I highly suggest anybody go to the Criterion channel or just type in Criterion Film Restoration and go look at some of what they do. They document it, and you can see comparisons. And it's really, I really appreciate that they're trying to get it as authentic as possible to how people saw it back then. I haven't been to an old theater yet with like um, showing an actual like silent film. I've heard it's pretty amazing, and 70 millimeter too on like curved screens.
Ooh.
I didn't even know.
IMAX.
Yeah, I didn't even know too that they had like even more like curved screens that almost went around you. And
When you went to a theater back then, it was more than just watching a movie. It was an experience. Remember
yeah,
they used to have people come in and dressed up into the audience for fun.
yeah, it was like a road show, like a circus
Yeah, so
thing
that's
almost.
probably why.
Um, but yeah, I don't know what they're called, but like think of like a giant screen wrapped around you, close to being wrapped around you, and they basically had three cameras filming one scene. And so it's super wide, like panorama all around you. There are a couple movies filmed like that, and that would be really cool for somebody to like recreate that, remake that.
Yeah, I mean, even
Did,
on widescreen, it wouldn't. It would look like it would look like that or something be squished in.
mhm. There's always like real world uh, things that you're not going to be able to recreate with digital. Digital's trying.
Well,
Um,
like those old roaches. Sure, you can have the film, but you can't have the audience interaction. Or what they did all kinds of stuff. They would have
yeah,
ghosts flying across, hanging from the ceiling.
yeah,
There's no way to ever get that back.
yeah. Digital is the crypto of entertainment.
When I think about man, if movie theaters were like that, I would pay to go. But I'm not going to pay to go into some room and just watch a movie because it happens to be a bit
Well,
bigger.
yeah, maybe we're trying to recreate. I don't know.
Now, if they had people coming out in wolf costumes yelling at me, I would go.
I don't know what the newer generation.
I would do that.
Okay, I'm just realizing what you just said.
That's what I just
Um,
said. Yeah.
um, I don't know if the generation now before us, I mean, generation after us, because we saw the transition of different types of media and stuff. But the Gen Z now, I don't know what they think. Do they think of vaporwave as just a style? They'd have to, right?
Well, I mean, they understand the era it's coming from. But you have to, Gen Z is 95 and after. Like I was talking to this girl a couple of days ago. I mean, she's born in 98. She still remembered Animaniacs and Batman and Robin on Kids
Oh,
WB. The ones who were actually born after the millennium, they would probably be the first ones to go full digital. I would
hmm
think. I mean, they would probably have some vague memory at best of VHS or stuff like that. Um, well, I mean, you can see it with Dylan, though. I've kind of exposed him to some of it. My nephew.
yeah.
Like I actually,
I'm.
he sat down and played Mario 64 on an N64 on a CRT all the way through.
I mean, they must be going back and doing a lot of discovery. Um,
Yeah. Plus everything is so well preserved. I mean, I could easily see a young kid going online and they end up on an emulation site and they're playing 16-bit games or
yeah.
8-bit games. I mean, or Apple II playing Prince of Persia on the Apple II emulator in black and white.
Um, but it's always a thing where,
But it's not the
like,
same.
even
No, it's not.
no,
Not the
like
same.
even right, like even developers, in a way, they didn't really make pixel art. Like they expected. the CRT to soften the image.
Well, scan lines. Well, scan lines are done on purpose. I mean, those our CRTs were 480, 480i.
Hmm.
They purposely ran the games. They purposely made it run at 240p and have those black lines in the middle to save hardware power. You know, so they could do more in the game to save
Right.
processing power. So they planned it on purpose to be this way, to run at half the resolution and break up the image.
And they expected it to have some fuzziness to
Like
it.
it does
They
naturally. It does naturally because of the way the lighting works. It causes a bloom effect.
Yeah.
Like scan lines aren't solid. On the lighter areas, the scan lines can be almost invisible as it runs through the bright areas of the image.
So
There's a lot to it. I mean, there is a
there,
lot to it.
there's a luminescence going on with the
Yeah,
tube.
there's a certain waviness to it as well.
So even when Bryce turns on his CRT filter,
That's not the same. The
it's still
Mega
not the
the
same.
Mega SG actually has hybrid scan lines to emulate that bloom effect. It is really close. I mean, it is really damn good. Is it exactly the same? No, I can sit down and complain. I'm sure some people will. It looks damn good though, and
Hmm.
it's really close. And you can personally set the scan lines to the darkness that you want to, because different TVs had different harshness on the scan lines. They even have it so you can balance the audio so it can sound however you happen to remember it sounding.
Right, right.
It's insane. There's so much to it.
It seems like digital is kind of it's giving you quality, and then it's just kind of barely imitating old media, and the art of all those imperfections are now becoming like a style. So digital is kind of flattening everything from the uh, the qualities of a media to just art style.
Yeah, and when you think about it,
Um,
like in the Jungle Book game, trying to find a good picture of it, but you know how the backgrounds were hand painted in the Jungle
mhm.
Book game. Then they were scanned in, and then the CRT with its scan lines and bit of fuzziness. I can't find a good picture of those backgrounds, but it made it look like watercolor
Mhm.
backgrounds essentially. Oh, this one's not bad.
Yeah, it's with anime too. Anime from the 90s has a luminescence to it from the cells that you can't recreate with
Like
the tech
the
we have
tree
now.
itself too. A lot of the objects were hand painted in this game.
Hmm.
Actually, it still looks quite good in the screenshot. It
Yeah.
softened it. Like you saw it on my CRT one time, and you instantly said, "Wow, it looks like watercolor." It really softened it so much.
It's also it has to do with that art principle that neutral colors, um, sometimes a tint and a saturation can look better than just bright colors screaming at each other. And so digital comes around and you can get every color looking as bright as possible and you can scan it in HD perfectly with all this detail. And that kind of takes away some of the appeal of more neutral colors.
Yeah.
So that's probably part of it. And
Something
of course,
I read recently. One of the guys who worked on Adventure Time, he said they put a very, very slight blur filter on their backgrounds. Very, very slightly.
yeah, that makes
It helps
sense.
a lot. It helps the characters stand out too with their harder edges.
Hmm. Um, yeah, watching that old Korean film, Il Mare, and Christmas in August, um, and Sassy Girl. I think that's the name of it. Yeah. Um,
It is, yes.
yeah. That it's like when I saw the film grain, the clothes, like I'm like this can't be. When I look at vaporwave, this is not like 100% being recreated. Like it's just of its era.
I mean,
It's
the
gonna
only
look the way
the
it does.
I don't know. It's hard to do because even if you got all the equipment and filmed it the old way with the film, um, you're
You're still watching it on a digital screen.
digital screen, yeah, but also like the world you're filming it in isn't the same either.
Yeah,
It's a different
I know.
world. It's a different world now. Unless you just go into somebody's house and recreate it.
Yeah, and then you can just and then I mean just muting the colors still doesn't really grab
It
it.
doesn't,
So
no.
yeah, so I understand like some people might see it as gimmicky and it's not fully recreating. I mean, it does give it to me sometimes a feeling of nostalgia. But I guess to wrap everything up, I follow more new media and I don't I don't go back as much. So when I do go back, my brain does light up. I do get sparks of the feeling of nostalgia. You seem to stay with more old media than I do. And so it just kind of all blurs together for you in a way. And so that's why you don't feel nostalgia because you're kind of like flattening old and new together your whole life.
I do. I was always trying to find I was always trying to a certain extent to find new stuff from those eras from that era that I missed.
Hmm.
Like I actually played Conquer quite a few years later, but it's still one of my favorite experiences now.
Yeah.
I call it experience because the gameplay sucks. Everything else is wonderful about that game though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I do have more memories with 3D platformers than I do the older games. So, I mean, I am sick of pixel art in indie games. I'm beyond sick of it. I hate
It
seeing it. Bryce teases me all the time that oh my god, it's pixel art. I'd rather everything look like Rayman. I don't fully understand even the appeal of pixel art. I think it's just like jaggedy. Like why would I want straight lines to be
well,
jaggedy? I want them
it's
to.
because it's played on. The problem is it doesn't have those scan lines
I
to
know,
soften it out,
I know,
so it's not the
but
same.
people still really like it. For some reason, they like that
I
jaggediness.
will agree there's too much of it. I don't. I like it at times. I do what's the name of that game?
Well,
Wizards of Legends looks really good.
I think Shovel Knight does it probably the best.
Yeah.
But
Um. Well, it's good. Yeah. Um.
Owlboy is pretty good too. But it's just I don't.
Owl Boy is beautiful.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know. There's even stuff where they're doing like what is it? It's not it's like 12-bit. It's not like
Well,
or
wait.
or 4.
The pixel art they make nowadays is not specific to any hardware. There is way too many colors in the modern ones.
No, but there's even like there's games that are like they're almost in between Atari and NES.
Oh, so some of the computers were like
6-bit. Someone had a name for them, like 6-bit or something. But
ColecoVision was like that. You have to ask Bryce. He knows all those European computers better than me.
yeah, I have an example in my head, but I don't remember the name of the game. So, um, yeah, but I don't. I don't know. I'm not sick of the whole vaporwave '90s return. I don't mind them catering to me. I don't mind them companies um
I
trying to
don't.
exploit my memories because I didn't like stuff in the early 2000s. And I didn't like stuff in the 2000 most of the stuff in the 2000s, most of the cartoons, most
I
of the music that
didn't.
was mostly playing. I didn't like any of it.
I'm in the same boat with you there.
So so when this era comes and it's all like 90s stuff coming back, to me it's just a return to what I already was enjoying. So yeah.
I don't,
It's not gonna run out of charm for me for a long time.
I don't dislike vaporwave. I just, well, now that the corporations are starting to try and appeal to that, it gets cringy to me. The corpse doing it is
Um,
nasty. The corpse.
you mean like some of the Korean music videos I've
Not
sent you,
even, not
or?
even them. It happens here too in advertising now. They're doing it over here. I don't have a
Mm.
specific example in my head because I don't pay that much attention. But I don't know. It gets it was more authentic when with the Bandcamp artists making vaporwave music.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely had its evolution. It is purely about feelings of nostalgia, like
Well,
getting the music and feeling from that era. It's dreamlike in a way that you would. It, it's trying to like sonically replicate kind of what your brain goes through when it's like going back to the past.
yeah.
And
I was showing you vaporwave when it was just starting earlier this decade too, and you weren't much into it.
okay, well, I don't remember.
No, but
I don't.
no, no, I'm not making fun of you for this. I'm just saying I actually got into it
Okay.
as a new genre of music. Not because it was making me any nostalgia, but
Well,
because it
I
was a new genre of music.
yeah, I've only learned about it in like Future Funk, you know, like, and then I went back and learned about what people were doing, like how it first started out. It was much more
Yeah,
abstract.
I
And
I wasn't sending it to you saying, "Oh, look, this is Vapor." I sent it to you because, oh, look, it's a cool song.
oh, okay. I mean, I wish I knew what examples you sent.
If I go back through my SoundCloud a few years, because I favorite all that stuff. I'm sure I could
Yeah.
find the examples.
hmm
So
I
we'll
don't know
wrap it
if
up.
I'd enjoy. I think I just really enjoy Future Funk. I don't know if I'd enjoy a lot of those albums from the first wave of
Uh,
vaporwave
I, s-
albums.
I sent you a song yesterday that was similar to the original stuff. I don't know if you listened to it or not. I sent it
Uh,
to Bryce and he liked it too.
yeah, I think so.
What was it called? Mash something. It was had a weird name. Sharp, sharp, sharp. The symbol sharp. Mall under 128. Sharp, sharp, sharp by Quiet Machine.
Well, maybe I didn't catch that link. I don't know.
It's okay.
um, um, I don't know what else is there to say about
I
nostalgia.
don't know. Well, we figured it out. It's just that me and Bryce never stopped. Bryce is probably
Yeah,
watching this right now. Bryce, come into Race's room and say something. Come in and say
Mm,
something.
probably won't. But yeah, like he's watched Hanna Barbera. I don't. My dad had more nostalgia for Hanna Barbera than I did. To me, it was just new cartoons.
Um,
I still don't super enjoy going back to watching them. I've never been super entertained by Hanna Barbera.
what about the good ones like Yogi Bear? Early
Sure, no,
first.
there's strong, cool characters. I just don't like watching them.
Oh, the backgrounds, man.
Mm.
Oh, I'll do a whole
I
video just
like
about them.
no, it's a strong character design and cool
Dude,
backgrounds, but
those Yogi
like watching them,
those first season Yogi Bear backgrounds.
they're just head
Unbelievable.
bob. They're just head bob talking to each other like moving model sheets.
But it kind of, I don't know, it has like a different, but it still shows some personality, different than the limited animation nowadays, or especially in the early 2000s. Well,
It's
John,
not making use of animation. It's just like a sitcom
um, Yogi,
without the acting.
Yogi Huckleberry Hound and like Quick Draw had more visual gags. The Flintstones what was made to be a sitcom
I
on
like the
purpose, on
Flintstones. I like the
purpose.
Flintstones. I like the way Scooby Doo looks. Um,
I actually do like Scooby Doo.
yeah, I mean,
I think it has some unique qualities, especially for when it was me. I realized Hanna-Barbera ran that formula into the ground.
mhm.
but the first Scooby-Doo series, the backgrounds are pretty unique. There isn't nothing else looks like them really.
Do you know Seth MacFarlane was gonna he was gonna remake the Flintstones,
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
and they made a whole promo for it, and they never made it.
and then they made this crappy thing with Pebbles and Bam Bam. It looks like something from the early 2000s that they had laying around, doesn't it? The new Pebbles and Bam Bam show.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
it
I think I've
it looks like it was totally ripped out of 2004 and just implanted today. It has the broken glass character designs all spiky and
ugh,
crap. It looks
ugh,
just like it.
ugh. I
Those totally even inking lines, everything.
I do like some of Cartoon Network's new shows this era.
It's
I
getting
will
better.
say
It is getting
it's
better.
it's got its own look to it. It's got its own feel to it. It's its own. Kids will be nostalgic about Steven Universe and Flapjack and Adventure Time in the future. They're like stronger shows than what we. I mean, going back to that list of like the 2000s, it's like, oh my god, what a mess! What a
Yeah,
mess.
Nick has been dropping for quite a while. They've never really recovered.
There's not a lot of memorable stuff from
Yeah,
the 2000s.
Cartoon Network's had some ups and downs.
Yeah.
At least I can say they've had ups and downs. Disney was doing pretty good fairly recently. They started
Um.
the new DuckTales is good. Gravity Falls was great.
Oh man, we just keep going.
We just keep going.
We
Those
just keep
Mickey
going.
Mouse shorts. Those Mickey Mouse shorts are so good.
Yeah, yeah, they are very good.
Yeah.
Um,
We're gonna wrap it up.
CG. This is the 2000s, and this era is the era of like CG. 2D may never come back. I don't know. It's kind of here and there, but um, that's also another thing where I think 2D is superior.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wish things went in the direction of Treasure Planet.
I do too. Treasure Planet. It is horrible that they marketed that badly. That movie is beautiful, and there's nothing else like it. There's nothing else like it.
Yeah,
It's one of a
it
kind.
whether you like the movie or not, I think it's actually a really good movie.
It
But
is. It is.
um, and maybe some of the character designs aren't that strong, but like,
That's
but
just splitting hairs.
yeah, I know. But well, John Kay, it's like
Well, he's an angry man.
I mean the faces are moving around on a head sometimes, but but that is like the height of 2D animation in a way. 2D just expresses things more. You can do more with lines.
You know,
It's cheaper, and it just the human hand moves things better naturally. You're looking at the moving work of an artist. A computer is like, I mean, I don't even know how they animate those things, and and that I wanted to learn 2D animation for so long.
the way it moves, it's almost like stop motion without the life because it doesn't have that human element.
Yeah, it's just what so, I remember some kids said it was like, a balloon sticks in a balloon and things are a little too smooth.
They are, yeah.
Um, and even when it is really good, it's just like the Lego movie and it's copying the look of
You
stop
know,
motion.
maybe where we're gonna go is the animation I'm getting into, the VR animation, where it's like you paint with 3D blobs and then you move the character like stop motion, but in digital.
Yeah, I don't want to say all hope is lost. There's
No, it's
plenty.
not. No.
There's plenty of. There's still like there's that Van Gogh movie that came out. There's plenty of amazing anime movies coming out that's move very well and
Well,
are beautifully
yeah.
animated and
Why did I get into anime? Because that's all that was left of 2D for quite a while.
yeah, and in the Cartoon Network shows they move pretty well. They don't move as bad as Hanna Barbera.
Well,
They're more dynamic.
that's the positives of digital is they allowed some of the workflow to go back into making animation
Right,
rather than bouncing cells.
right. So that's another example where digital is kind of I guess with CG and 2D, digital is kind of taking away some of the artistic
Yeah.
merits.
Anime adds in some of the CG for the backgrounds and stuff, but it still doesn't look like Treasure Planet.
Well, the 2000s also has a lot of bad anime with mixed in CG that's like
Well,
it.
it looks like N64. Well,
Oh God.
dude, Macross Frontier, even though I'm a huge Macross fan, and it is a very well written show, has good characters, it's very strong writing, you know what I mean? But when they hop into those robots and the Valkyrie flies out of there, it looks like N64 graphics fighting Jet Force Gemini bugs. It looks,
It's so bad.
it's bad.
Early CG. No one's ever going to want to look at that in 20 years. We don't even
Except
want
for
to look
Toy
at it now
Story.
because it's kind of looks like toys.
That's why they did it.
Again, it's a really good movie.
That's why they did it.
So that's the only thing that saves it.
Monsters Inc. isn't too bad. Well, I guess by then they were. Bug's Life is butt ugly. Everybody forgets about that movie
It is.
because it's just butt ugly.
Well, it's
It's a funny movie though. It has
there.
good character writing too. It's kind of
Well, it
sad
has
in that
that.
way.
Yeah, it does have very good writing. It's almost like a political drama.
I actually have quite a few memories from it from lines of the movie, which proves how strong it was in that regard.
Yeah, the grain of the ants being one grain, and one stands up, they all stand up.
One,
That's a very powerful scene. But again,
we are so
like
far off course now.
I know.
We're just gonna have to do a show on animation next week.
Yeah, yeah, I'm down to do that.
I'm gonna sit here and
We kind of already
talk.
we kind of already started it,
We're gonna talk about the history of animation next week
but we figured out why you don't feel nostalgia.
because me and Bryce carried it along. He never came into the room to comment. Bryce, whatever. It's too late now.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you all next week.
See.